Hi everybody, I'm Dr. Winnie King, and I want to invite you to my show, the Dr. Winnie King Show, every Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. We're going to talk about everything that's your health and wellness on 1230 KCOH, The Source.
It's time to be educated and to be entertained. And without further ado, the good doctor is on, Dr. Winnie King.
Hello, 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 Houston. How's everybody today? I'm so happy to be here with you today. You are listening to the Dr. Winnie King Show, and I am Dr. Winnie King. And the first thing I've got to do is apologize for missing the show last week. I had something come up unexpectedly, and it went over the amount of time that I had allotted, and I just wasn't able to break away to do the show. But I really missed you guys. And I got a lot of feedback about not being there, and I'm going to do my best to make sure that never happens again because there's so much to talk about. And I want to hear from you. If you've got a question, this is a great time to call. This show is really for you. So it's about the kinds of things that you want to talk about, whether it's your health, a parent's health, a child's health, heart disease, diabetes, pulmonary or lung problems, COVID questions. Anything that you would like to speak about is fine with me. And as you know, I often talk about personal things like sexual rejuvenation, hormones, erectile dysfunction. All of those are fair game as well. And I'll be talking about that today on the show. If you have a question, the number to call is 713-668-1230. That number again is 713-668-1230. And there's no such thing as a bad question. Any question that you got is fair game, and I'll do my best to answer that question and give you the information that you're looking for. Now, I've had many of you come to my office, and I'm grateful and gratified for that. And if you would like to make an appointment to see me, I'm located in Houston off of 1960 between I-45 and 249. I know that's a long stretch. I'm about midway through. And I'm open Monday through Friday from 10 to 5. And the office number is 936-224-7990. Again, that's 936-224-7990. And you can always go to my website. That's winniekingmd.com. And that's WINNIEKINGMD.com. And of course, the MD stands for medical doctor because I am an MD. I am a medical physician. I've been one for a long, long time. I'm trained and I was board certified for over 25 years in emergency medicine. And that's what I did for a long time in many local emergency centers, hospital centers, trauma centers. I went to med school at Howard University and did my residency there. And then from there, moved up to Baltimore and practiced emergency medicine there for several years before moving on to practice in California, in Los Angeles, in Orlando, and now here in Houston, taking care of many, many patients, more than I can even count. Some of them when they're having a crisis. And I've been blessed to be able to help a lot of people with my hands. And now I want to help people with my words. And so if you have a question, something that you want to talk about, it's a great time to call because I love answering questions and helping you to understand the medical system, your body, how it works, and what you need to know in order to be healthy. Unfortunately, our healthcare system is really a model that's based on treating illness rather than preventing illness. And that's great for the medical profession because it makes them a lot of money. It's not great for you. I would much rather that you prevent having a heart attack or prevent having a stroke or cancer than to be so pleased with all the new shiny devices that we have to treat it, because you're never really the same once you've been through something like that. So that's why it's really important to get as much information as you can and incorporate that into your life and make the changes that make sense for you. There's no such thing as living a perfect life. We're all going to fall off the wagon, do the wrong thing here and there. But if you're kind of going in the right direction in terms of health and wellness, then you're going to be in a much better place than someone who is that. About 7 years ago, I actually walked away from emergency medicine. I was tired, y'all. I've been doing that for a long time, and I don't know about if you guys know how it is with ER doctors, but we work long shifts. There'd be times when I'd work up to 48 hours at a time. And it just really takes a toll on you physically and personally in your personal life. And so I decided that I wanted to move into something that I found more gratifying, which was to help you not need the emergency room as much as possible. And so that's when I opened my practice, Winnie King, MD, Aesthetics and Wellness. So that means that I deal with keeping you well, but I also deal with aesthetic issues because we want to look good in addition to feel good. And so I do a lot of the services that are designed to help you feel good in addition to looking good. And so that means that we do Botox and fillers, and we do bioidentical hormones and laser services and microneedling, which is a way of resurfacing your skin using some of your own stem cells. We do smart lipo. I've got great diet programs. There's one in particular we're doing right now, which is just fabulous. It's called the semaglutide diet.
Dr. King, we have a call.
It's gotten hot. Oh, well, hey, let's go to our phone lines. We've got a caller on the line. Hi, caller. How are you, and how can we help?
Dr. King, I have had 2 friends that have strokes. Both of them are
okay.
58 and 59. Do you know of any circumstances where strokes run in the family? Any familiar kind of conditions?
Mm-hmm. That's an excellent question. I'm sorry about your 2 friends. I mean, having stroke at any time is a bad thing to happen, but in your 50s, that's pretty young. Yes, there are some situations where there is a genetic predisposition. Some people are born with a tendency towards clotting easier than other people. And when that happens, then that clot can then travel up to the brain, and it can cause you to have a cutting off of the oxygen supply to your brain, and it can cause you to have a stroke. Atrial fibrillation, which is an irregular heart rhythm, that's very, very common these days for some reason. It seems like we're talking more and more about it. That is also another condition that can very easily lead to a stroke if not properly treated. That requires the use of blood thinner type medications to keep your blood from clotting. Because with atrial fibrillation, your heart is beating irregularly. So in other words, the heart is supposed to beat boom, 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 boom. With AFib, you'll have a boom, 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 boom. It's like that. And so because the blood is not moving through the heart the way it's supposed to, it's kind of sitting still at times, and that makes it easier to clot. There are some people that have a genetic predisposition to having this problem, but that clotting is something that it can be genetic. I've known people where they develop blood clots in their legs, and that clot is then traveled up to their lungs, and they've thrown a pulmonary embolism, which is a blood clot to the lungs. So there can be a genetic. Did you really? What happened?
Yeah, I had that after I received like 6 months of chemo, and they said chemo makes your blood thicker. But we've had people in our family that had blood clots before, but not as young as my son. But I've heard before that I had a PE and it went right to my lungs. So
yes, that's I'm sorry.
Theirs didn't get that far, but I'm just wondering. This is just really running rapid through the family.
Yeah. What's really important. Yeah, if there is a predisposition towards something, there are some things that can be done to help reduce the risk. And that's where it's important. If you know that you've got 3 or 4 people in your close immediate family that have all had the same problem, then that's when you need to take a look-see and say, okay, wait a minute, doctor. I want to tell you about this. Because when it comes to clotting, we've got medicines that we can use that will help thin your blood and reduce your risk. But we wouldn't know to do that for you if we didn't know about your family history. And so it's not all is lost.
Yeah, one of my sons is on Plavix, and myself and my other son are on Eliquis. So
that's right.
Hopefully this doesn't happen again because we're on this medication.
Exactly right. That's right. And so it's great that. Yeah, go ahead, please.
They're still recovering, basically, and suffering from having the stroke. But
yes,
they're doing okay. But I just don't want to go through this again, and don't want to have them go through this again.
No, ma'am, absolutely not. So what's really good is that the diagnosis has been made. We know that there is a tendency, toward it. So that's good to know. And now they're on Plavix, which is a medicine that affects your platelets, and platelets are very important in blood clotting. And so when you're on Plavix, it really kind of slows that process down so your blood doesn't clot so easily. Eliquis is another medication that does something similar where it keeps your blood thin. A lot of people are on these medications because they need it. They are born with a genetic predisposition, and all of us are born with something. Some people are born with a tendency toward having a cancer. There are some folks where there's multiple people in the family that have all passed away from cancer. And so there's something, a combination between the environment and also their genetics that makes that gene express itself. Please give my regards to your sons. I'm so grateful that they're still here with us and they're recovering. So that's fabulous. And encourage them to be sure and take their medicines. Because, when you're, especially men, they're notorious. They don't want to take their medicine, or they start feeling better and they're like, oh, I don't need this medicine. They need it. And please, mommy, make sure that they stay on it and they don't let it go. Because I have seen people, like after, say, a heart attack, where they survive the heart attack and they're placed on Plavix by the cardiologist to keep their blood thin so that they don't develop another clot that goes to the arteries in their heart. And after a couple of years, they're like, yeah, I'm good. I don't need this. And they come right back. They're in the emergency room with a second heart attack. So this is something that they're going to need to stay on. They need to make this a part of their life and to just accept it. This is how it is. You're going to be all right. I do believe in the power of prayer. And so there is no reason not to include that in this process as well.
That's right. Okay, well, thanks for your comments.
You so much.
I've heard that before, but now you just made it.
Yes, absolutely. So praise God, your two boys are with you, and I'm grateful to hear that too. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. And if you have a question, please don't hesitate to call in. The number is 713-668-1230. That's 713-668-1230. Strokes are no joke, folks. And if you have a tendency in your family where a lot of people have had strokes, you need to go to your doctor and you need to let them know about that, because there may be something in your genetics that is predisposing you. I've known patients that come to me where almost everybody in their family has passed away from a heart attack by the time they were 50. Their father, the grandfather, their uncle, all of them died from heart attacks when they were in their 40s, even before they hit 50. And that's something that we have to look at. That can't just be a coincidence. There may be something in your genes that you inherited that puts you at increased risk for having a problem. That does not mean that you have to die from that problem, that you're a sitting duck and that this is just going to happen to you because it happened to them. You're living in 2023. We've got modern medicine. We've got tons of things that we can do that can really reduce your risk. And again, this is where the wellness part comes in. Making sure that you're at your ideal body weight, that you're getting regular exercise, getting regular sleep, that you're dealing with whatever stresses you have in your life. And look, we all have stress, okay? There's no such thing as a stressless life. The only person I've ever seen who didn't have stress was dead, okay? So stress is what it means to be human. But there are ways that we handle the stress, because when you have a lot of stress, it can cause your adrenal glands, which are these little chestnut little sized organs that sit on top of your kidneys, to secrete a lot of cortisol. Cortisol is a hormone, and that cortisol has an effect on your body. It increases your blood pressure. It increases your heart rate. It puts a stress on your body. And that all leads to increased inflammation in your body and increases your risk for having heart attack, stroke, makes diabetes worse, makes your blood pressure worse. All of it just simply from having a lot of stress that you're not figuring out a way to handle, whether it's daily meditation, regular exercise that raises your endorphins, drops your blood pressure, makes you feel calmer, getting adequate rest. If you're not getting good sleep at night, you need to be getting at least 6 hours of sleep. 8 is better. And if you're not, then you need to let your physician know about it, because there are things that we can do to help you with that. People think that, stress is just stress. It's just stress. It's just one of those things everybody has. But stress will put you in the ground. And like I said, we all have stress, but stress doesn't have to have you. And that's where you find ways in your life to find joy. And I know that may sound a little syrupy, but it's really important, whether it's taking a minute to just close your eyes and meditate on the things that you have to be grateful for. A grateful heart is a healthier heart, when you can take time to just be grateful for what you have. In our society, it's so much about what you don't have. And do you have this, and do you have that? And, Instagram is notorious for painting these false pictures that people believe that you need to look like this, you need to have it like that, you need to go like this, you need to do it like this, or you're not in, you're not cool. Everybody else has it, but you don't. Those are all lies. All of them are lies. And if you buy into that and believe that, then you'll put that stress on yourself that you're falling short, that you're falling behind. I mean, listen, as many of you know, I'm a Christian physician, and I'll tell you that the only entity that you need to be aiming to please is Jesus. Because all of those other entities, your neighbor, your girlfriend, your coworker, all of those people are just humans, and pleasing them or living up to their expectations doesn't net you anything in the long run. So it's really all about finding a way to deal with your stress so that you can be happy and joyful. That's what's critically important. And you all may be hearing a phone ringing in the background. I'm in my office today, and so I get a lot of phone calls, and my staff will hopefully pick up, and you won't hear that anymore. But anyway, these are the kind of things that need to be looked at. Stress, making sure you're getting adequate rest, taking supplements like a multivitamin. If you are taking a statin drug, which is a drug that's for elevated cholesterol, I like to make sure that my patients are also taking the supplement coenzyme Q10. CoQ10 is what we call it, because statins can deplete the CoQ10 in your cells, and this can lead to problems with muscles. And you've probably heard on the commercials for statins, they'll say at the very end, when they really run through all the things as to why you don't need to be on this medicine, but it'll say if you have body aches, muscle aches, soreness, you need to let your doctor know. It's because of the effect of the CoQ10 from the statins that you're on your muscles. And one of the ways to help prevent that is to supplement yourself with coenzyme Q10. And so that's something that I sell in my office. You can get that in a lot of places, but I have a very high grade one that works very well. And you can buy the supplement, by the way, on my online store, the drwinniekingstore.com. Again, that's the drwinniekingstore.com. And we have free shipping on there, and I think there's a 10% discount for first-time buyers. But that is another supplement that is really important. Now, there's one that I talk about a lot on the show, and I get a lot of questions about.
Dr. King, we have a call.
Oh, we do? Okay. Well, I'm going to put a footnote right there, and I'll come back to that in just a minute, and let's go to our phone line. Hi, caller. How are you?
Great, Dr. King. Sunny day, windy day in Houston, Texas.
It is windy. It's sunny, but it is a bit windy. I was just outside a little bit ago, and I'm like, oh, my Lord, this weather is so crazy here in Houston. You don't know what you're going to get. So what's going on with you?
Well, I came across an article this weekend in the editorial section talking about women giving birth, Black women giving birth. Did you see an article in the paper?
I've seen articles about women, African American women, and the fact that they have a higher percentage of birth deaths. Is that what you were referring to?
Yes, that's exactly what the article talks about. But I was finding the article kind of hard to believe because I can see how that can happen with maybe people who didn't have access to continuous health care, women anyway. But this article went on to say that even wealthy women with higher education were having the same experience. And I thought that, I said, well, either this is fake news or this is a very disturbing idea.
Well, it's not exactly fake news. I'm not sure what the percentages were that they were talking about, but I do know that statistically, women of African American descent have much poorer numbers when it comes to their pregnancy delivery rate and infant mortality from pregnancy. This has a lot to do, some of it is access to care. And I mean, let's just, keep it real that, when you look at the African American community, we are certainly doing better than, say, 30, 40, 50 years ago. But there is a large percentage of African American women who are in childbearing age who are not affluent, who are maybe middle income or low income or flat out poor. And in those cases, access to medical care can be a challenge. A lot of it has to do with medical insurance. And do you have insurance that will cover your prenatal care? Do you have the funds to buy the prenatal vitamins that you need? It's so tied up into the life and the availability of the healthcare system to take care of these women. When it's a financial issue, often women will not have the resources, to go and see a gynecologist on a regular basis. They may not have access to a gynecologist if they have a problem, preterm labor. Then, of course, we also know that there's a higher incidence of hypertension and diabetes in this population anyway. I mean, just across the board, but it often is not properly treated. And diabetes and hypertension in pregnancy can be a disaster if not properly managed. And so access to care and then proper administration of prevention techniques is critically important. And it is a fact that women of color do have much poorer numbers and statistics when it comes to delivering a healthy, viable fetus at the end of a pregnancy. And there's a lot that can be done. I mean, access to care, insurance, making sure that prenatal care is something that's covered, that women don't have to worry about that. All of those things will make a huge difference.
Yeah, and I can understand that, but the article highlighted the fact that even wealthy, well-educated, and people with access to care are having the same outcomes.
Yeah, well,
that was a disturbing part.
Again, some of it, I know, and well, it's the genetics of it, that there may be a higher incidence of problems with hypertension and diabetes. Those are the two that really get minority people in trouble in general, and certainly in pregnant women, that is even worse of the situation. So even with access to care, there are a variety of potentially comorbid conditions that make that pregnancy more of a high-risk pregnancy. And so even under the best of circumstances, it can be a very high-risk pregnancy and one that has to be very, very carefully monitored. These are women that may do everything right, but they'll go into preterm labor because of uncontrolled diabetes or hypertension. It is disturbing, but the reality is that there are hundreds of thousands of African-American babies that are born every year that are just fine and do just fine. I mean, my sister is the mother of 4 babies with 3 pregnancies, a boy and a girl, and then a set of twins. And the twins came later in her life, and so that was considered a high-risk pregnancy throughout her pregnancy. And she had access to excellent medical care. And, she is somebody who would be considered affluent. And even still, it was a very difficult pregnancy. And one, she went into preterm labor, and she delivered those babies early. Praise God, they survived and are now grown-up people doing well. But I could easily see where another person without the same access to care or with more comorbid conditions, she was not diabetic or hypertensive, that they could have had a different outcome with that pregnancy.
And this hypertension and diabetes is primarily a function of diet and stress.
No, not necessarily. Some of it is just flat out genetic. I mean, it's just that you are at higher risk for developing this problem. Now, there's really two discussions here when it comes to diabetes and hypertension in pregnancy, because there are women who have no problems or no history of hypertension or diabetes prior to becoming pregnant, and then develop hypertension and or elevated glucose in their pregnancy, so that their body develops this problem. And so that's the reason why we monitor pregnant women so carefully. We're supposed to, because we need to make sure that they have not developed an elevation in blood pressure. You know, pregnancy is supposed to lower your blood pressure. It's supposed to be a low pressure state, so that that blood can flow to through the placenta to the baby, to nourish the baby. And so when that blood pressure starts going up, it compromises the viability of that pregnancy. And so that's why we monitor that so carefully. We keep a close eye on the blood pressure, because it is the blood pressure and the blood vessels going to the fetus are critical in terms of the viability of that pregnancy. The same thing with diabetes. There are many women who are not diabetic, but then develop diabetes in their pregnancy. And so that's where, even though they were not particularly at risk when they were not pregnant, they become pregnant, they develop this problem. And if it's not carefully watched and monitored, it can lead to a loss of that pregnancy, or compromising it at the very least. So pregnancy is a very difficult time. And in African Americans, there is a higher propensity to developing these problems. And that's why it's so critical that they are carefully monitored to make sure that they don't develop the problem. But again, the reality is that even though their numbers are higher than other communities, the reality is that most African American women who become pregnant deliver a healthy baby. It's just that the numbers of those who don't is slightly higher than those in other communities. But that's the good news, is that there really is hope for the future with pregnancies. And we are at the halfway point in our show, so we're going to take a break. Thank you. I appreciate you for calling in. We're going to take a break, and we're going to come back and talk about that supplement, and also, of course, about erectile dysfunction. Be back in a minute.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Winnie King, and I want to invite you to my show, the Dr. Winnie King Show, every Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. We're going to talk about everything that's your health and wellness on 1230 KCOH, The Source. This device allows me to take a look at the scalp and see exactly what's going on when it comes to hair follicles. And here you can see the scalp of someone who has already been scoped. And you see plenty of hair follicles, and you also see these little round dots here. See, the hair is growing out of these follicles, and then there are some that don't have hair. That's where we can go to work. We can use our products, whether it's laser, whether it's injecting some of your growth factors to try to help these follicles start growing hair once again.
Here's one thing I want you to think about.
Welcome back, everybody. You are listening to the Dr. Winnie King Show, and I am Dr. Winnie King here answering your fabulous questions. Thank you so much for calling in with great questions. We've covered a lot of different things today, and I do want to talk about this supplement called Artericell. This is something that I've spoken about on the show a number of times, and quite a number of you have purchased this. This is a supplement that I take every day of my life. It is something that's unique because it is a supplement. It's not a prescription medication. You can purchase on drwinniekingstore.com. And it is made out of seaweed, believe it or not. It's a very unique product. But what it does is the lining of our blood vessels. You know, when we were talking earlier about strokes, heart attacks, these are problems with blood vessels where there is a plaque buildup. And that plaque can then break off and then travel and cause you to have a heart attack or stroke. And a lot out there in the supplement world that can kind of help prevent you from having a problem. You know, we don't want to just go around putting everybody on Plavix or Eliquis without having any problems in the past. I mean, these are medications that thin your blood, and so they do have certain risks associated with them. But if you've had a heart attack or you've had a stroke, then we know that we need to do whatever we can to keep that from happening again. And so the risk is outweighed by the benefit in those cases. But what about those of us who've not had a stroke, or those who have and want to do even more to protect themselves? Well, that's where Artericell comes into play. And that's Arterossil, Artericell. And you can find this on my store, the drwinniekingstore.com. It's a supplement, it's a pill. You take it twice a day. And what it does is it cleans out the lining of your blood vessels. And really, we call that lining the glycocalyx. Now, that you don't have to ever remember that. That's a medical term that we use. But it refers to the lining of your arteries. And that's where the problem arises. And so anything that can help clean that out and prevent obstructions from occurring is always a good thing. So Artericell is something that I recommend to most all of my patients, but especially people with high cholesterol, people that have hypertension, folks with diabetes, people who have had strokes or heart attacks. All of them need to be on it. And if you are concerned about your health and you want to prevent or help do what you can to prevent that, then Artericell would be a very good thing for you to take a look at. Now, it's interesting because I mentioned to you that I was going to talk about erectile dysfunction, and I'm going to do that right now. But believe it or not, Artericell is considered a supplement that is used to treat erectile dysfunction, or ED, as we call it, because erectile dysfunction requires you to have good blood flow and good nerves that are working. So when we're talking about blood flow, because you know the penis goes from being flaccid or soft to being firm and erect, and it's required in order for you to penetrate your partner. And so if you don't have good blood flow to the organ, then you're not going to be able to achieve an erection, because that's really what an erection is. You know, it is the blood flowing into the penis and causing a firmness of the penis. And so if there's any, you're going to have. So there are a lot of things that I do in my practice to help. Arterioscale is a supplement that I often recommend to my my male patients as a treatment for that, because anything that's blocking flow, any kind of obstruction is going to interfere. You know, when you have vascular problems where your blood vessels, your arteries are hardened or filled with plaque, it's not just the arteries that go to your heart or to your brain, it's all over. And so often when a man comes to me with erectile dysfunction, he actually has heart disease and doesn't know it yet, because he hasn't actually had a heart attack. And when I question him and ask him, well, sir, when you're active, when you move around, do you get a little short of breath? Have you ever had chest pain? And sometimes they say yes. And it's like, well, before we deal with the ED issue, we need to deal with the coronary issue, because you very well may have heart disease. The two are connected. Your blood vessels run all throughout your body, and whatever's wrong with the blood vessels in your toe is the same thing that's wrong with the blood vessels in your brain. They're all connected. And so that means that you could have a problem that's more important. I know that being able to have an erection is vitally important, and some of you may argue that it's more important than even your heart function, but I'm sorry, as a doctor, I have to disagree. You've got to have a heart in order to actually have a heart on. So you've got to take care of your heart first. And so sometimes ED or erection is early warning to trouble. So you need to have a good, solid workup. And that usually just means seeing a cardiologist and getting a stress test. Very simple, painless. Just put you on a treadmill and put a little electrodes on your chest and watch your EKG as you're moving around, and see how well that blood is flowing into your heart. If there's a problem, the EKG will change on the monitor, and that's like, aha, there's something going on. Let's catch it now before it moves into being something where you end up having a heart attack. So that all being said, when it comes to erectile dysfunction, it's important for you to have a good workup, a good examination by your doctor, and often that just really involves the history. I know some of you are thinking examination, but you're going to look at my penis. But no, we're not talking about that. There's a lot that are just from your history and from your blood work. Measure your testosterone level. If you have low T, then you're going to have a problem, and so tell it. And all of that information is on my website. You can learn more and more about that, and I'm happy to speak with you about it. And by the way, for those of you who are uninsured or underinsured and you want to see a doctor, you need help for one reason or another, I do offer $99 office visits. And this will get you a good physical, a history and physical examination, and any prescriptions that you need will be sent out. And we'll, if we need to do blood work on you, we can do that at a very affordable cost. I don't want you to be without. I know many of you are listening and you're thinking, well, that sounds good, Doc, but I don't have insurance. What about me? So that's why I have made myself available to you all. $99, trust me, is a bargain. But it's important to me to make sure that my listeners have access to solid medical care. So now let's get back to erectile dysfunction. I understand how frustrating this is and how embarrassing it can be. When you're with your partner and you're all set, you guys are ready to have a sexual experience, and then nothing happens. And it's hurtful, it's embarrassing, and don't partner is demeaning or rude or disrespectful about it. And so that's why it's important to me to help whenever I can. So a workup involves testing your blood, measuring your hormone level, making sure that your testosterone level is adequate. If not, like I said, we can certainly address that with hormone replacement. Very simple, very easy, very effective. Then we look at some other things that can be done, such as shockwave therapy. And I know that sounds horrible, but it's really, really not. And it doesn't hurt. It's a device that we run along the shaft of the penis, and it just hits. There's like a little piston effect in there, so you feel like a pressure as it's going up and down your penis. What that's doing is breaking up any plaque that could be in your arteries. It's also stimulating new blood vessels and nerves to form, to maybe even build around any obstructions that you have. This is something that we have to do over time. We do it on a regular basis, but it does really help rejuvenate the blood flow and the nervous system of the penis. So that's something that we can do. Also have what we call an M-Cella chair. That's EMSELLA, M-Cella chair. And it's just a chair that you sit on, and a magnet in the base of it, and it causes the muscles to contract. This helps you to have a stronger and more enjoyable organ. It's also very good for men who are having any problems with urinary incontinence, where you're having, same thing with women, by the way. We're talking about guys right now, but the M-Cella chair is fabulous for women. And as a matter of fact, it was originally made, you'll do the equivalent of 16,000 Kegel exercises in 20 minutes. And Kegels are those exercises where you squeeze down below to tighten that muscle. Well, you can never do 16,000 of them. And this machine will painlessly help you do 16,000 in 20 minutes. And we do this 6 times, and you're pretty much done after that. You may want to come back once a year and just get a touch-up, but that's it. Totally non-invasive, no need. No pins, doesn't hurt. You just sit on for all the penises that I've seen in my career. Okay, trust me, this ain't about that. This is really about helping you. My heart is toward total altruism of helping you, being as professional as possible. I usually do these consults privately with just you and me. I don't like other people in the room because this is a very private matter. And I'm good at what I do, and I have a passion for it because I know what a difference it can make in a person's life. So don't hold back from getting a consultation and learning more about it, meeting me, understanding how I roll, so that you can take advantage of this, because this is your life and you want to be happy and joyful in it. And if this is an issue for you, if this is something that is worrisome to you, then you should get help. Don't sit at home suffering, a long time ago. Trust me. I'm older than you may think I am. We didn't have anything. There was nothing. That was your problem to have, and just had to just suffer along and deal with it. But these days, people in their 50s and their 60s and their 70s and even beyond want to be able to enjoy sex. They want to be able to with their partner. And if that is you, then you should reach out to me and let's see what we can do to help you. Let me give you my office number again. That number is 224-724-7990. And you know what? I also want you guys to follow me on Facebook, Dr. Winnie King, and Instagram at WinnieKing.com or at WinnieKingMD. There's a lot of information. I've got a YouTube channel. Just type in Dr. Winnie King, and you'll see all of the videos that I have for the many services that there's a lot that needs to be done. And my company's slogan is "Look and feel the way you've always dreamed." And if you look, well, we can help you with that. If it's that you don't feel good, we can help you with that. And I do want to take the last few minutes of the show to talk with you guys about my hair salon, because I actually have launched a full-service hair salon in my office, which is awesome. I'm so excited about this. We've got excellent operators that I've handpicked to work there. And I did this because one of the other services that I provide in my practice is hair restoration. This is such a huge problem. There are so many of us that are losing our hair. And by that, I mean men as well as women. I've had a lot of women coming to me with tears in their eyes because they don't want their husbands or their boyfriends to see them without their hair. They're horrified. Quite frankly, I'll tell you, just as an aside, if you're with somebody who can't deal with you because you've lost your hair, you're with the wrong person, okay? Because they should be with you because of who you are and not the way you look, per se. Everybody has some hair shedding with age. Some have more than others. It's typically a genetic problem. And I do a lot in my practice to address this. From the medical side, we have PRP scalp injections that we do. Again, we help, that's not painful, we numb that up, but we, again, harvest your stem cells. We also mix it with things like exosomes, which is a product off the shelf that helps with growth. Ozone, which is super oxygen, we put that into your scalp to help stimulate hair growth. We also use laser to do it. We have supplements that we have you take by mouth, and serums to put on your scalp that are prescription level to help you grow your hair. What you also do was to have a salon where people could come so that they would be treated by hairstylists, cosmetologists who are sensitive to hair loss. And so they won't undo everything that I just did, They'll use products, and I've handpicked the products that we use. They're all collagen-based and extremely healthy for your scalp. And so I wanted to make sure that that was there. So even if you are not losing your hair, but you just want to make sure you don't down the road, for you young ladies and younger men, this is a great time for you to actually come in and start getting treated by a hairstylist who knows about hair loss and can help nourish your hair, give you hairstyles that will make you look good without at the same time taking your hair out. using products that are designed to make you look good, but your hair, even in a couple of years, you're going to lose all of your hair. And so that's why we put this together. So it's a fabulous salon. It's actually in my office, believe it or not. It's a separate area, and we're getting really busy. I have a feeling we're going to need to expand soon. But we provide hair care. We also will make you a cranial prosthesis, which is a wig that's custom made for you. We make toppers that we do. And if you would like to have a consultation with me or my hairstylist, just call the office, and let me give you the number. The number is 936-235-4247. I hope you can hear me off of that. The number is 936-235-4247. 936-235-4247. This is the Winnie King MD Hair Salon, and it is located in my office. And you'll be able to speak with my stylist and do an appointment. This is my medical practice, although I'm happy to see people who want to explore the micro needling, the PRP scalp injections, the laser, the supplements, all of those things as well. But we've got ladies coming through who are completely bald, have no hair whatsoever, and we can help you. We can absolutely help you. If you have lost pretty much all of your hair, and a lot of young ladies are coming through who lost their hair early in life. We're seeing more and more of that. We can make a fabulous prosthesis for you that, or a unit for you that people will look at it and they won't know that that's really not your hair. That's just how good they are. Scalp, we can address that. If you need a topper on your scalp to fill in an area where you have pretty much lost all the hair follicles, we can do that too. We're pretty much able to do whatever it takes to give you back that feeling of looking good and feeling good about yourself. It's amazing how tied in how we feel about ourselves is tied into how we perceive the way we look. And so that's why it's so important. Don't sit at home wearing some crazy on-air wig everybody knows is fake. Come in and see us and let us help you, because we can do it. And again, that number to the Winnie King MD Hair Salon is 936-235-4247. And let me give you the number to my main office. That's 936-224-7990. Again, 936-224-7990. You can follow me on Instagram at Winnie King MD, on Facebook, MD, and my YouTube channel, Dr. Winnie King. There's a show on there. I've done a lot of television shows in the past, and those are on there, as well as videos about the services that I offer. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it, Mr. Chatterbox. Our time is quickly. I want to thank you all for calling in with your questions. This show is not the same without you. And I want you all to be careful and be safe out there. Drive safely. And I will be here next week taking care of all of your questions. You all be safe. God bless you. I love you. And I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Then you're my choice.